Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Michael here, Deeper States Mind and Wellness. How are you? Welcome to the Entrepreneur Show this morning or this afternoon. It's 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and I want to touch base this morning. And have you ever been? I'll give you a little background about myself. I've been in business now for over 25 years, doing hypnotherapy and NLP. Um, Prior to the pandemic, probably about 3 to 5 years prior, we started doing mostly remote services and reaching out and really bringing in Olympic, Junior Olympic clients, as well as doing work with clients all over the world. So I have a little bit of knowledge about this, and I wanted to talk today about outsourcing and should you hire, should you outsource and hire people abroad? I want to get a little bit in depth with that today, and give you hopefully some ideas that'll help you with your business. I know that a lot of you are just starting business, and some of you have been in business for a long, long time. But the people that are starting a new business, it's you may or may not be at this point yet. With outsourcing, it's important for you to have a foundation. And one thing I'll tell you, it's important to know what you need because I'll even now I've worked for 25 years doing what I do, and it's still sometimes difficult to know what I need from a virtual assistant. And I'll tell you an example of that today as to what I have experienced with my experience with working with outsourcing and bringing people out from offshore to do work for you, and what services are available that I know of and what I can actually personally recommend to you. So, I started my business 25 years ago, all brick and mortar, of course. That was the only way there was back then, right? I think we had maybe Friendster where we could connect with people, but there really was not a lot going on at that time. And then later on, Facebook and everything else evolved. I mean, you know where we are today. I mean, you got Facebook, Instagram. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. There's some that are non brand names like uh, oh, I can't. Twitch is one of them, which is more or less for gaming. But now it's kind of gone into social media platforms where people are doing videos about everything. And there's several more out there. Excuse me. There used to be one called Periscope that I started watching way back in the pandemic, and I guess they'd gone for years prior to that, I'm sure. But Periscope was one that you could actually go in and watch a video of somebody. They would be chatting, and you could follow the chat. You could ask questions through the chat. Excuse me, tickling my throat. But that person would be able to answer the questions of what they were seeing along the chat. Well, then they did not know how to monetize, and that was a very interesting part about that was that one fell apart because they didn't know how to monetize anything. Of course, we now see that Facebook and Instagram are selling everything, including the kitchen sink, right? So that's how they're staying alive and they're staying open. But as a business owner, you get consumed by a lot of things. There's a lot of changes that happen, and if you're a brand new business owner, you're consumed with kind of the initial start of getting your business going, a business license, um, finding out a brand name for your company. What is the company going to be called? Are you going to be selling widgets? Are you going to be selling cogs and wheels? What are you going to be doing? So that can be trying on its own. So, and that's why I say I'm not sure if at that point you're ready for a virtual assistant or not, because or even to outsource something, because it is a time when you need to be a lot of hands on, right? You have to be constantly trying to handle things, taking care of things. Things are very hands on. But we got to a point for my business where it was becoming very difficult for me to just stay on top of everything. Emails had to go out. New clients were coming on, registering on for programs, and I had to send them their documents. I had to send them their intake forms. I had to charge them. I had to send their receipts to them. I had to send the free MP3 that we give them before they start our program. So all of that was building up on me, becoming really, really, really tough to manage. So I went ahead and I purchased a CRM, and the customer relations management system is great because it handles emails. Now, not only does it handle emails, it handles email blasts. So now you're able to blast stuff out to your client list and be able to service them through that. So it puts their name at the beginning of the email. So just make it as personable as you can. And then what happens is it looks like it's coming from you. But now the trend we're seeing now is that nobody's looking at emails. So now it's important to go into text marketing, right? And more people are paying attention to text now than they are even ever opening their email address, their email inbox. So when you know that I would say that when you know that you're ready for a VA or for a offshore person to start doing processing or work for you is when you're overwhelmed because you can't keep doing it all yourself. And I'll tell you, that's a fact that I have learned, and that I think any entrepreneur I've ever worked with or coached, it's so important for you to know that you cannot do everything yourself. You can try, and the more you try, the more you're going to fall behind because there's just so much. And then you can't be a perfectionist with things either, because when you start using a virtual assistant or an offshore person, there's going to be rewrites. There's going to be product that came back to you that is not at all what you expected it to be. And you're going to have to hold their hand. You're going to have to walk with them and say, this is what it should have been. This is what I needed to say. Um, and of course, people are hiring virtual assistants all over the world, right? I mean, people are here in the U.S. There are people that are all the way out in Panama City, Panama, and I'll tell you about an experience I just had with that. Uh, the Philippines, Pakistan. I have a team in Pakistan that does an awesome job with my enterprise system. Enterprise system is where if somebody comes to us and I'm coaching them and they don't have a website and they don't have any type of social media presence, they're not marketing themselves well, we will go in and we'll redevelop them. If they want us to, we can rebuild their website, set up the website so that it actually works with funnel marketing, so it actually has responsiveness to it. So I built the enterprise because I had the contacts to do that in Pakistan. Social media is fairly new for us. I mean, I had never really, I'm kind of word of mouth. So, don't really, I use social media and it's great. It's becoming a way of being able to touch mass groups of people and not have to deal with each one on one until they're ready to come through the funnel, right? Until they're ready to actually work for me. So, if you're looking to, a blog is awesome, right? Let's talk about the minimalist part of hiring a virtual assistant or outsourcing something first. So let's say that you need a blog. It's easy. There's Fiverr.com out there. There's Upworks.com. All of these places have places where you can go. You can put in what it is you're looking for. Fiverr's a little different. Fiverr, you search for what you're looking for. So you search for a blog writer. It'll give you all these people. You can go in, you can read what their background and everything else. Just as if they were applying for a job with you, they have their CV or their what they used to call a resume sitting there. You can go through, you can see the work they've done, who they've worked for, what they've done, what their history is. And I'll tell you, a lot of times it's hard to know whether that's real or not. A lot of people like to meet with them over a video call, which is what I like to do, so I can get to know them a little bit better. And they're willing to do that. You also want to do some type of a writing sample from them, because a lot of times what happens is they're speaking another language and they're trying to write in English, and it just doesn't come out the same. I mean, it's like sort of like me trying to speak Spanish. And some of the words just don't translate. So when you hire somebody offshore, it's important for you to go through that. But a blog is really a simple and easy way to be able to get clients to come over to your website and to read your material, right? So what you can do is you can go into Fiverr.com, find yourself a blog writer, and go through the reviews, see what they've done, and that you pay by the level of their expertise. So you can bring them in. I've had great results with that. I actually hired a chef in Italy to write some menus for us for my weight loss program. That was really, really cool. He wrote I think 65 different recipes, all with my expectations. So everything was calorie count. Everything was simple and easy to make, so you didn't have a lot of work to do, while you're at home trying to make sure you had lunch or your dinner. I've had people come in and do work with. I purchased programs that didn't work properly or that were having problems. For instance, a matter of fact, I'll show you something real quick. So there's companies out there that you can actually build your overlays with. If you see the background we're using right now, this background was built for me by my Pakistani team, my team in Pakistan. And then I'm going to show you a quick video that was produced by a video production company, which was outsourced, right? I mean, we bring them in, they do a project, and then we're done with them, and then they go along their way. I go along my way, and we're done. And if I ever need something else, I come back. So I'm going to show you a video in a moment right now that was produced offshore. It's a template product. So what happens is you click in what you need, they put it together, they render it, and they send it to your inbox. So check this out. This is one that we had done 5 years ago. No, I'm sorry, 2.5 years ago. This was when we first started with the pandemic, during the time when I was doing lives with people that were stuck at home. So let me show you this real quick, and then we'll talk a little bit about other resources I have for you and the other ways and what the experiences I've had with outsourcing. But this is just an easy, simple way to show you what an outsourced person can do for you. So as you can see, the production quality is pretty good with this. And their production quality was pretty good, and that's why I brought them on board. But they've done a lot of videos for us. Even you'll see the video at the end, right, with Einstein on it, and that was put together by the same company. A lot of times, if you need somebody to just come in to check out software, like we've downloaded a new program that's going to do the funnel marketing. It's going to do our CRM. It's going to actually do online sales, both electronic and also tangible sales products, and that's having a lot of problems. It wasn't, it was very expensive. It was, put it this way, it was more than I've ever spent on software before ever in my life. We're talking in thousands of dollars, but it's not working properly. And we're having other people from outside sources, not the company. The company's working out little by little, but I need to have things built into that program. So I went into Upworks, and I brought in some people, and my team from Pakistan as well has been working on it, and we're almost there. It's taken a while. It's taken about a year and a half. Because it's a brand new software, and many portions or pieces of it are not working properly. So we're working on that. Fiverr.com, again, if you need to get a blog done, or let's say you just need a paper done, they'll be able to do that for you, and they do a really good job. I have a speaker sheet, one sheet speaker sheet, where they put together my picture, what I talk about, what that presentation is going to be about, what my background is, and what hypnosis, NLP, what do I teach, right, in that class. That was put together me on the speaker sheet, and it was like, I think, like $15 for one speaker sheet, which is great. It looks professional. It's better than I could have ever done here in my in-house. And I'll tell you, when you use resources like that, it's great because it's not taking away from your time. And I'll tell you, the busier you get, the more you need time, right? That's one thing you'll never be able to buy is time. You cannot buy time. You can only buy resources. So it's real important as a small business owner to know that the resources are available to you. I used a social media manager who's still doing our social media posting right now, from Panama City. And I'll tell you, I don't know if it was that there was a language barrier, or if it was that there was just, I expected, I guess, for somebody to just go in and handle this stuff, and not for me to hold their hand every single time. There were times that the assistant would not post. They would post static posts that I had created from the past, which was okay initially, to do occasionally, right? But I noticed there was 2 days in a row that those went back to back. Um, Communication is tough sometimes, and it's important that you can try to build that communication with them. If the rapport doesn't work, then you need to find somebody else, because otherwise you are going to be spending a lot of time with them. I'll tell you that. You're going to spend a lot of time with them while you're trying to build. They're trying to understand what you expect, and you're trying to understand what they expect. I'm in a position where I can't be holding somebody's hand. I can't give them step-by-step direction, and especially because what we were doing with this company was everything was pretty much the same every month. The only thing that was changing were these lives, right? And the lives are changing, and so were the Thirsty Thursdays, which now is just another talk on Thursdays, right? Only about hypnosis. They didn't have a name. It was just our talks, and it was just a template. All they had to do was stick it in there, and she did great with that. But they wanted me to give them to them, 2 weeks or a week in advance, and it's difficult to do that sometimes. I'm running a company. I mean, I'm sitting here trying to get things done, and if you and that's it's an assistant that it's in their terms, but they're not flexible with that, and they're called work sitters. It's great if you have a production that you can give them, and they can just go through, and like say that you do 55 different emails a month, and they're all follow-ups for clients, and you're a template form client. You just send the template to those clients every month, and every month those different, only thing that changes are the email addresses, right? Then that's great. It works really, really well. But if you're a company that's fluctuating or moving around a lot, and you're not need you can't afford to be there consistently time wise, I can't regain the time that I'm having with them. Matter of fact, we went to every 2 weeks meetings that were every 2 weeks as opposed to once a week to give an extra hour in that time. I was hoping to build that and to grow that, and the thing is, what it just didn't work out. So now we're looking at trying to see what we're going to do as far as I think I have found a resource that I can use for that. I'm not quite sure. I'll share that with you guys later on. But there are a virtual assistant is somebody who's going to be with you. You can kind of pile the work on them. And I'm at the point right now where I don't really need that because there's not a lot of follow in for me to change and do, right? There's not a lot like, oh, I don't need to have the VA upload 65 emails to my database. That's not what I need. You can get virtual assistants to make phone calls. There's phone centers in the Philippines where, they just have these phone banks, data banks. And what they'll do is just call all day long. I mean, you get them, hire them in, and you can get them to do call outs for you, follow-ups, lead sales calls. So you've got a lead sale, and now the lead sale just aired on YouTube or on Instagram or on Facebook. And now that it's doing, people are going to click to call, right? And they're going to call in, or you're going to call them. They're going to give the information, and this assistant will call them and we'll go in and ask questions about them. And you can get those for about $6 an hour, depending on where you're working at, six to eight, depending on what country you're in. Panama City, I will tell you, has been the most expensive virtual assistant system I've ever found. And they were expensive. She did beautiful work, but the communication was really rough sometimes. And I think it's just a different culture. And I think that's part of the transition that it left a bad taste in my mouth. And probably will not go back to Padma for any services, mainly just because it was a lack of communication. I didn't want to, I just wanted something to be consistent with the same postings, same dialogue, right? And it's kind of tough to find somebody that's going to learn how you operate, but they're out there. Right? You may have to go through a few, but they're out there. Another thing is, you get dedicated assistants. The dedicated assistants expect you to work 8 hours a day, and they're there for you. And it's great if you have that amount of need for an assistant, full-time assistant. If you're piecemealing yourself and you're new, I highly, highly recommend five.com. And if you DM me on this, I will send you a link so you guys can get, I think it's like a $5 or $6 coupon or something like that they give. Through an affiliate program that we're set up with. Virtual assistants are good. I highly recommend them. You just have to know what you need, and you have to be organized. And again, I'm going to say that again, unless your system's already in place and you have somebody in your office is just sending emails out every single day. Say that person's just sitting there writing 25, 35, 45 emails a day, and sending those out. You can get a virtual assistant to do that by giving them a template, right? They run through the template, they just correct the names, correct the whatever prudent information it is for that blast to do, and then they send that out. A virtual assistant will sit there and do that for you all day long. Phone calls, it's a great way to run a phone system. What do you call it? A phone room operation system without having to have the overhead and the cost, because they're bringing everything to the table. You're not having to provide phones, you're not having to provide room, you're not having to provide, a place for them to drive into and work. I mean, everything's remote. And now that it's remote, especially more so now, with the over internet protocols that you can use for phone services, it's great. It just changed that whole world. Virtual assistants overseas can be great. The cost is good. It's cost effective. Of course, the work you're going to get varies, right? You have to. Is no different than here, right? I mean, you're going to have some good and some bad. You're going to have to go in and talk to them and find out what their background is, and really put their work to the test, because a lot of times they'll say that they're great in WordPress and they can build a website, they can put it all together for you, sure. But until you know what they can really do, you may get a lot of services that you're paying for that you don't like, and you're going to pay for them because they're not here. It's not like you can go in and say, I don't like this. This didn't work out. Sometimes they'll do it a couple times for you, and if you can't get it right, I mean, you're going to have to eat those costs. So, so there's budget friendly virtual assistants, and there's virtual assistants that are not budget friendly. I'll tell you, the Panama was not cost effective for me, just because it was not what I had expected or what I had signed up to do, thinking they were going to be there to do that. If you're looking for somebody that's going to be a virtual assistant that's going to kind of be able to just go through and do their own thing, I mean, I would definitely say go to Upworks and just put in an ad for what you're looking for. And a lot of people will come out and they'll reach out to you. There's everything on there. You can write a book on there. You can find a ghostwriter to help you with, let's say you wrote your book and you've got almost everything done except you can't figure out the end, and you're not sure what you want to do at the end. You can go and you can find a ghostwriter that'll write that, and they'll help you with it, and you can shoot back and forth, right? And you come up with this brilliant ending for this book, and then you can also go in and have somebody else put it in format for you. Fiverr does that as well. Upworks does that as well, where you can go and you can just put together the book, and they'll piece everything together, and they'll even some places will even get you the ISBN number and everything. Everything's preset, right? So it just depends on what you're looking for. I would recommend that you don't go with the least expensive VA or the least expensive. Um, don't build a team with the least expensive people you can put on that team, because that's the kind of work you're going to get from them. Um, I know that there is a lot of outsourcing into Africa, and I've not attempted that yet, but I know that that's the newest thing right now. The thing is, they seem to be really good in technology, and I think that some of the people that are out there are very, very good in technology, and India is very good in technology. My problem with that is that it's time zones, right? So we had a meeting this morning with a software developer that we're working with, this new program that we just purchased, and it was tough because they're 13 and a half hours ahead of us. So to get that meeting in, it would have been like 11:30 in the morning, 11:30 at night, and that would have been her early morning, her time to go to work, which I don't know. It seems like they're working at 11 in the morning until 8 p.m. at night, which is odd hours, but that seems to be what they work. So, and they're a day ahead. So if you're looking for an assistant that's going to be time sensitive with stuff you have to produce, I don't know that India would work well for you. Um, it they're great for system development. I mean, they're really good technology wise. The ones that are out there that know how to develop and know how to code are awesome. The only problem is that time change is really tough. It's hard to be able to get on the same time change with your VA or with your team in order to be able to develop something that's going to work. You're going to be working weird hours with them. A lot of them do not work our day hours; they work our night hours, and it's tough. You've had a hard day all day long trying to do with that. Now you're trying to deal with your offshore people to try to get a project done. Um, I just don't know how that would ever work unless you're an entrepreneur that doesn't have an entrepreneur that's got automated systems. I guess that would work really, really well. I don't know how that would fit into play, but if anybody is out there using any of this stuff, oh man, please reach out to me, DM me. I would love to know what you're doing, and let's touch base. Let's talk about things that what you're doing that work for you and what I'm doing that works for me, and then we can kind of share that with each other. But but yeah, because it's a very different world now. When you outsource, there's Upworks, there's one called Zertool, which I have not used. There's one called Virtual Staff Finder. There's one called Fancy Hands. There's one called Belay. There's a lot of them out there. And the key is going to be that you find the one that works out well for you and hold on to them. Treat them like family. This is the thing, is that when you find a good one, and I was really hoping that the Panama City woman would have worked out, because the young lady, because this is the thing, is that once you get them, treat them like family, send them gifts, send them, wife, have a friend of mine that has her VA had a really hard time in the Philippines. Her computer went down. It was not making enough to buy a new computer. So they actually all chipped in and got her a new computer. And now she's dedicated to them. She loves them. They have a great relationship that works really, really well. That is the type of relationship you want to build with your assistants. I mean, you want to make sure that they feel like you're taking them to heart, and it's real important. Um, Things that you can use them for is kind of limitless. Anything that they don't have to be in your office for. Filing. I mean, if you're doing online filing, you're putting data entry into a server like, let's say, like Google Drive or Microsoft. Oh, I don't know what the Microsoft version is. I use Google Drives, but if you're using it to store your contact information, to update your contact information, then they'll be able to go through and do that. They can actually from out there make calls and make sure that everybody's still on that list is active. They can go into your CRM, send out emails just to make sure everybody's active, keep them on board. Um, it's just really important. They can write emails for you. They can write lead magnets for you. They can, come in and start bringing in articles that will get people engaged. I mean, there's so much stuff you can do. Anything that they don't have to be in the office for. Graphic designers. There's awesome graphic designers out there. I mean, look, if you're looking for a flyer that you're gonna, have for one event. I mean, is it worth it to pay $5 for the flyer to be designed and then you just send it to a printer locally and have it printed? Absolutely. You don't have the busier you get as an entrepreneur, the less time you're going to have to work on the stuff like that. And you just have to be able to be okay with it's not your product. And you have to be okay with not owning that product 100%. So if they have a little bit of a design flaw and they don't, your logo looks a little bit off to the right. I mean, you can't nitpick it like that because they're going to, you could be there forever. Some of them will do unlimited redos, right? They'll redo them over and over again. But the thing is that after you've done that for a while, it's pretty tough to go back and try to be like, oh my God, I've worked on this one flyer, right? And it's got the date and the time and everything. And I may not use that flyer again. You might not be able to use that flyer again because my class is going to change and the people are going to change. But it's much easier than sitting behind your desk in Publisher or any of the word programs and trying to build a flyer. It's just a lot easier. You can do accounting. There's local teams here in the United States, and if you want an accountant, say in Virginia, and she's a mother, she's part time. Maybe she used to work at a accounting firm, and she retired. Now she's sitting home. She wants to do something. You can hire them to come in and do your accounting. All you do is just you upload everything into the system, and they actually sit there and keep your books for you remotely. There's just so much going on that you can do that's changed a lot, right? Anything that's sensitive, if I can leave you with one last word about this, is that anything that you're having a virtual assistant do that is sensitive material, any data input, having them come into your systems remotely, computer repair remotely, any of this stuff, I would use people here in the United States just because it's database, right? It's security breaching. I mean, you want to make sure that you're secure. I have found pretty good assistance. My team in Pakistan is pretty versed. They have passwords to all my stuff. They're able to get into stuff. Financial, I only have one person over there that can actually get in and run Facebook ads for me. One person can run a YouTube, Instagram ads for me. The rest of the team that I have out there is just they put together the funnels. They put together the processes that need to be followed through with as far as like getting the information to clients, creating programs, creating quizzes, anything like that can be offshored. But anything you're going to do that has sensitive information, I would definitely keep here in the United States. One thing I want to leave you with also is if you want to do a virtual assistant full time, you can get them full time. You're looking probably about $200 to $300 a month, but they will do everything for you. They'll stay with you the whole time. Some are really good. I got to remember, you can't expect your full time virtual assistant to know graphic design, to know social media marketing, to know, so you're going to have some thresholds that are going to stop you from going any further. So it's important to keep that in mind that you have to really hire the person on what their skill set is, because if you try to get them to educate in other skill sets, there's just so much out there that you're not going to get real far with them. So let's wrap this up. So Fiverr's great. Fiverr.com if you're looking to go in and just get some easy stuff done. If you're looking to have them, build the stuff that you just saw, the intros and outros for your videos. Video editing is awesome on there. They have a lot of great video editors. You can get people that are just going to write, one page op-eds, anything like that. There's a lot there. You can get a lot done on Fiverr.com. Upworks is great for bigger projects. I found that Upworks is much better. It's much more skilled teams. If you're looking for, say developing an app for your business, I would go to Upworks and I'd hire a developer through there, not necessarily through Fiverr. They're there. and you have the ability to get really, really good quality work. You're just going to have to go through and really fine tooth comb that person and find out what they're about. But I'll leave you with that. And Panama City, Panama, I would highly recommend them if you have your systems already in place. And they just do the same thing over and over again. Repetition seems to be what I found that they do well. If you're trying to, they're going to rely on you to give them ideas or to give them kind of the work, right? Which is okay. That's kind of what they're meant to do. I mean, the thing is that for me being a therapy program or a service-based program, it's a little bit tough because they're not just creating a building for me. And my emails are never the same. I mean, I make sure that I hand custom write my emails to my clients. I try to stay in touch with them as much as possible. My videos are very different. I mean, I can't have them, produce some kind of an info video about, say, hypnosis and tinnitus, right? Because they're not gonna know the material. So it's kind of tough to hold somebody's hand to go through that. So we're gonna look at doing some more stuff with some more virtual assistants. And I'll keep you guys in touch. I'll keep you guys. We might do another one of these. If you like this and you think that this is helpful to you, just leave a comment down below and let me know. Or you can DM me if you would like to share some information. I'm open to sharing what I've learned. We can even do a email back and forth and talk about what you need or where I am. My team in Pakistan is very, very good. They're able to pretty much build a website. They're able to put the funnel together. They're able to bring your clients in from the initial opening of the funnel all the way down to the bottom of the funnel. They work pretty well. I mean, it's just really finding the right person for yourself. So anyway, everybody, I hope you have a great day. Have an awesome week. Go out there, make some money, make some people happy, sell the things that people need, and enjoy the week. I will talk to you guys soon. Michael Almers, your Deeper States Mind and Wellness. Appreciate you guys who are tuning in over on YouTube. Any questions, go ahead and feel free to get them back to me, and I'm an open book. Thanks, you guys. Take care. Have a great week.
I think these videos are brilliant, and I'm sure you will like them too. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell.